And this is what the Romans did too, as well. And they actually burned people the same way. You described it: hot oil, cut their feet off, cut their limbs off. I mean, they they had the rules of war did not apply with the Roman Empire at all whatsoever. It never did. It never happened. It's like the Britain Empire too, as well. Very ruthless, very barbaric. That's what they did. Torture chambers. Iron Maiden.
It is.
Go ahead.
It is barbaric. It is barbaric, and it's being fed from the top.
Mm-hmm. And now here they are doing it again. Is that correct? As you're telling us, now here they are, 2,000 years later, they're doing the same methods over again. Is that what you're telling us? Is that correct?
That is exactly what has been happening in the last 20 years.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm telling you, the bodies are piling up. And I'll tell you why the world is not listening to us. It is because they are white. And they're making this a racial thing. Because they are being murdered by black people and they happen to be white. Now, the consensus and what I see in my Facebook group is that we somehow deserve this after apartheid. Now, I tell you what, who on this planet Earth deserves to be murdered and tortured to death based on something that came to an end 20 years ago via the ballot box? I mean, South Africa was the first country in the world that actually voted in a transformation, where that was such a peaceful handover and transformation that the two leaders who actually brokered the deal, Mandela and de Klerk, won a Nobel Peace Prize for their effort.
Mm-hmm.
So these same people who actually brokered this and said, you know what, segregation doesn't work, because that's what the word apartheid means. It simply means segregation. It's just an Afrikaans word for segregation. It's not the special word that means the evil of humanity.
Mm-hmm.
So the same people that instituted this government in 1948, that they call the apartheid government, it was their children and my generation and the previous generation that actually transformed and wanted peace and wanted to fix this.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, we inherited it. We didn't create it. And what are we getting for it in return? We're getting murdered. We're getting slaughtered. And the world is saying, oh, what, we deserve it? I mean, bloody hell, who deserves that?
Mm-hmm.
So I need to say this, and I know I've been called so many names. I've been called a racist. You know what? I am not a racist. I am against anybody who tortures anybody else, regardless of their skin color. And if they murder them for the reason of a certain skin color, then they are the racist. And if I call them out, I am certainly not a racist. I'm simply speaking the truth.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what I'm doing. I'm saying, can we just freaking stop this now? Because, you know, in the entire apartheid era, from 48 to 94, 21,000 people died. But you have to break that up into two eras. From 48 to 90, which was effectively the end of apartheid, because that was the unbanning of the ANC and Mandela was released, 7,000 people died. And I say very, very clear, each and every single death is an atrocity, and it's not right.
Mm-hmm.
But in the next era, from 90 to 94, that was the difference of the 7 and the 21,000 of the people that actually died. And that was black on black violence, and that was the IFP and the ANC fighting each other to win the election. Mm-hmm. So how many black people died as a direct result of apartheid? 7,000 people died.
Wow.
So now I'm saying to you, in the last 20 years, post-apartheid, 4,000 farmers have been brutally murdered, and 70,000 white people have been murdered. So 70 plus 4, 74,000 people have been murdered, and the world says nothing. And what I'm saying is the world got so up in arms about this heinous apartheid system. Let me tell you what, it was segregation. I'm not saying it was right. I've never said apartheid was right. But at the same time, in 1948, there was segregation in America, And there was segregation in Australia, there was segregation in the UK, as well as Canada.
Mm-hmm.
So it was how it was at the time.
Mm-hmm.
And you cannot judge a system in hindsight. It was wrong. It got fixed. But we are still paying a price for something and for a system that was implemented by people that are dead now. And the people alive now actually fixed it. And we are getting killed for it. And I'm saying that's wrong.
Yeah. Yep, no, they are because you're under attack yourself. You said so. These people nowadays are people like people on Facebook. You know, they don't care. They don't. You know, they want to destroy Christian humanity. That's what they want to do. And put it into it once and for all. That's what they want to do. They actually want to. They're actually. Getting funding from ISIS too as well, people on Facebook. So they're actually posting these jihadists, and they're getting paid for it by the Muslim terrorists. Exactly what Ron Howell talked about. You know, we're going to talk about more about that next week anyway. So yeah, this needs to be exposed. And guess what? The liberal press is also involved because every time they said follow us on Facebook or Twitter, they're getting paid for that. You know, they are. We are not under contract, so we can actually expose this without having us being under contract, because we're not with Facebook or Twitter. We are on there, but we're not under contract. You see, we can expose what the corruption that's going on with social media right now, and that's what we're doing here. And I appreciate it, Brandy. I really do, because we're bringing it out there and letting people know about it without the being cut off, without being your voice not being heard. This needs to be done, because this is why you're also getting your own radio show, by the way. So I appreciate that, Brandy.
What I'm saying is the America, and this is what I don't understand, and I'm going to pose the question to your listeners.